So good evening again, everybody. Wolf here. Another installment of the trailer rebuild project. My next task is going to be starting to apply the layers of paint. Starting with the rust converter tonight. I picked up some Rust-Oleum Rust Reformer today, both in spray can and brush-on form. Use the spray stuff to get inside of some of these more difficult to reach spots, like the C-channels here, which I'll never get a brush into. Use the brush to get at some of the more accessible spots because I can put a thicker coat on. This is what I'll be starting with, the spray-on rust converter. Like I said, it's Rust-Oleum Rust Reformer. Sprays on. Probably doesn't work as well as the brush-on stuff, but like I said, I'm going to be using this in some of the hard-to-reach spots. Then we're painting on the rust reformer brush-on stuff. It's supposed to dry black. Starts out white though. Should be interested to see how that goes. But it says about 15 minutes it should turn black. I can see I'm going to need a lot more than the little 8-ounce bottle I bought. Oh well. And I'm making a mess. Excellent. I made some progress on it. But that one little 8-ounce bottle of rust reformer did not go very far. So I need at least 2 more. Unfortunately, Rounds only had 1. So I have to go looking for more tomorrow. In the meantime, we'll see what I put on here, how well it dries, and see what it looks like when I come back tomorrow. It's been a long time coming for this one, so I've been looking forward to this. I start painting it today. The temperature is going to make it an interesting challenge, though. It's only about 40 degrees Fahrenheit in this garage right now, so we have to take some extra steps to make it work. So on to the paint. Now, I had been talking to some friends about how I'm going to paint this trailer, and they had suggested I might want to look at a all-in-one paint. That's primer and top coating all in one, so I just have to go over it once. So I decided to talk to the guys over at Rounds True Value Hardware here in Stoneham, Massachusetts, and see what they suggested. And they really didn't advise that. They actually suggested I should just go over the primer first and then the top coat. Partially because the trailer's got so much rust on it and stuff, it's just be better for it to do it right. So I'll go with their advice. So what I ended up going with is the Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer. So I'll put this on first. And got a little extra gadget here to clip onto the top of the paint can, make it easier to spray. And I was doing the spray rust converter, I was getting it on my fingers and things like that, so this will stop that problem from happening. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. The other bit of a challenge here with the colder weather is, as I said, the trailer frame is about 40 degrees right now. And there's really no way I could heat this garage up to make it work better. So what I'm actually going to have to do is I've got this old heat gun right here. And I'm going to heat up a section of the trailer frame, probably get it up to around 90 degrees, put the spray paint on it, and with the warmer temperature of the frame, it should dry pretty quickly, because otherwise we need to get it warm enough that it's going to dry fast, because if the trailer cools down before it finishes drying, it could still screw things up. So we got to get the thing pretty hot to dry the paint fast. So I'm not sure how well this is going to work yet. It's going to be an experience getting to try. So I've got the heat gun plugged in, it's ready to go. I put a tarp down under, or actually just a plastic cover under the trailer for now. Catch any drippage and other stuff so I don't paint the garage floor red. So let's get started and see what happens, shall we? I'll put it out of the way so I don't melt it. I'm going to start on this back corner here and go from there. So I'm going to do a test spot for now just to see what it does. That's all we're doing. One thing I can tell you right now, this is going to take a while. It's warm. Not as warm as I'd like it to be, but we have to do. Let's see what happens, shall we? Looks good. We'll see how it dries, but it looks good. Well, we've made some progress with the painting. It does work. We'll come back tomorrow and take another look at it. For now, this is where we're going to stop for tonight and see how it does. Alright, so I'm up here a day later. Let's see how the paint is drying. Okay, so I did 3 different techniques of painting this. This area, I actually heated the metal with the heat gun first, which took forever. And that's nice and dry, no problems there. This spot here, I sprayed it on cold and then heated the paint with the heat gun. That's also nice and dry, so that technique also worked. And finally, in this last spot over here, this is just painted on cold. And that too is dry. So you know what? I don't think I need to heat this metal. Paint seems to have dried just fine. A couple little spots I missed, but I was in a hurry, so go over some of that again. I think we're good. We don't need to heat this. Excellent. Warm enough. Just give it a little extra time to dry. We have primer. Pretty well done now. That's what I'm going to be doing here. I haven't done the underside of it. I haven't even put the rust converter on the underside of it. Figure I'm going to worry about the underside in the spring. It's difficult to work in this garage and it's kind of cold. So I'm going to get this trailer functioning now. And I'll revisit it in the spring. I'll climb underneath it and do the whole underside of it. Rust, sand it down, rust converter, all the paint layers, everything else. Leave the floor on it. Whether any paint I spray up inside won't go spraying everywhere. But I think we're going to be good. I let this dry now. And after it's dry, I'll come back up probably tomorrow, touch it up with the paint just to make sure I've found any thin spots. Need to come up with a bright flashlight so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to let it dry first to find all the thin spots. And then we're ready to be putting the top coat on it. Thank you for watching. If you like what you've been seeing here so far, please remember to subscribe if you haven't done so already. I would love to hear what you think, so leave any comments, questions, suggestions. I know I'm not doing this project right. I'm doing it a quick and cheap way, but not the best way. So I can expect to see rust coming back, so you don't need to tell me about that, but I'd love to hear any comments anybody has anyway. Other than that, thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Certainly have it ready for the trip up to Moosehead Lake in the fall.